The man who stepped out of the darkness. It was supposed to be just another quiet drive. But what happened that night still hasn't left me. I'm not a truck driver. Just a regular guy driving through the Canadian Rockies late one night. The kind of drive where the world feels endless. No traffic. No lights. Just miles of black road cutting through darker mountains. I had just passed a small town, the last sign of life for a long while. After that, it was nothing. No streetlights. No houses. No movement. Just trees. And silence. That kind of silence that presses against your ears. A few minutes later, nature called. I figured I'd stop at the next rest area, but I must have missed it. No big deal, I thought. The highway was completely empty. Not a single car in sight for miles. So I pulled over. Engine idling. Headlights cutting into the darkness. Everything beyond that. Pure black. I stepped out, did my business by the side of the road, and lit a cigarette. The cold air hit differently out there. Sharp, almost too clean. I leaned against my car, staring out into the void. That's when I saw it. At first, I thought it was my eyes messing with me. A shape, moving. Way out past the reach of my headlights, near the tree line. I squinted. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't an animal. It was a man. And he was walking toward me. Now let me paint this clearly. I was miles away from anything. No nearby houses. No parked cars. No signs of life. Patchy cell service at best. So what was a man doing? Walking out of the woods. In the middle of nowhere at night? My stomach dropped. Every instinct in my body screamed, get in the car. So I did. I stayed calm, at least on the outside. Opened the driver's door, slid in, and locked it immediately. My hand stayed on the gear shift. Foot hovering near the gas. Ready to bolt the second something felt off. But I didn't drive away. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity. Maybe disbelief. Maybe something else. I just stayed. Watching. The man kept walking. Slowly. Not rushing. Not waving his arms. Just walking straight toward me like he already knew I was there. The closer he got, the more real it became. He looked normal, but also not. Disheveled. Tired. Like someone who hadn't slept in days. He walked right up to the passenger side of my car and knocked on the window. Tap, tap, tap. My heart was pounding now. This was the moment. The kind of moment you hear about in stories that never end well. I cracked the window just slightly. Yeah, I said, trying to sound steady. He leaned in a little, not aggressively, just enough for me to hear him. And in a very serious, almost hollow voice, he said, I need you to call the cops. Not what I expected. At all. I hesitated. Why? There was a pause. And then his face changed. Not in a creepy way. Not threatening. He just broke. I went out into the woods to kill myself, he said quietly. But I couldn't do it. His voice shook. I thought of my daughters. Just like that, everything shifted. The fear I felt a second ago, it disappeared. Replaced by something heavier. Realization. This wasn't a threat. This was a man standing at the edge of his life, who had just stepped back. I grabbed my phone immediately and dialed the police. The signal was weak, but it went through. As I spoke to the operator, I kept my eyes on him. He stood there quietly, not moving, not trying anything, just crying, softly, like someone who had been holding it in for too long. Then I noticed something in his hand. A knife. Just a regular kitchen knife, but in that moment, it felt like the most important object in the world. Not because I was afraid of it, but because of what it meant. That knife had almost ended his life minutes ago. I stayed in the car, still cautious. But I spoke to him gently through the cracked window.